She made a promise to bring her best friend home. But the airline tried to stop her. What happened next left everyone speechless. Naomi Brooks had served in the military for 12 years. She had faced grueling deployments, tests of strength, and moments that pushed her to the limit. But nothing weighed on her like this. She was escorting her best friend home. Corporal Devin Hayes wasn't supposed to be in that flag-draped casket. He was supposed to be right there with her, joking about how he was better at poker, arguing over which San Diego diner had the best breakfast, or reminding her that she took life too seriously. But war had different plans. One moment, they were side by side on their final mission. The next, he was gone. Before his body was loaded onto the transport, Naomi made a promise to his mother. She would bring him home. Not as a nameless, faceless process, but with the honor and respect he deserved. So when she stepped into Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, her uniform crisp, duffel bag slung over her shoulder, she had one goal: get Devin home to Wichita, Kansas, where his family was waiting, shattered but holding on. The military had done its part, bringing him stateside. Now, commercial airlines would take them the rest of the way. Naomi had all the paperwork, the clearance, everything was set. But something felt off, a bad feeling she couldn't shake. She checked her ticket, gate B-17, departure in 90 minutes, more than enough time. She adjusted her grip on her bag and moved toward the gate, glancing out the large airport windows. The cargo hold of their plane was open, but she couldn't see Devin's casket yet. That was normal usually. At the gate, the airline agent barely glanced at her before continuing a conversation with a co-worker. Naomi stood patiently waiting. Finally, with an exhausted sigh, the agent turned to her. "Can I help you? I'm Sergeant Naomi Brooks. I'm escorting Corporal Devin Hayes to Wichita." She handed over the documents. Her voice was steady. "I need to confirm the procedure once we land." The agent frowned as she flipped through the paperwork, typing something into her computer. She sighed again, this time with an odd hesitation. "That's actually going to be a problem." Naomi's jaw tightened. "What kind of problem?" "Your layover in Dallas. Our policy doesn't allow escorts to remain with the casket during transfers. You'll have to take a separate flight." Naomi's heartbeat pounded in her chest. "No, that's not happening." The agent exhaled sharply. "It's policy. I don't care. I promised his mother he wouldn't be alone. I'm not leaving him." The agent shrugged. "It's out of my hands." Naomi clenched her fists. Bureaucracy. Cold, detached policies made by people who had never seen a battlefield, who had never folded a flag, who had never had to knock on a door and tell a mother her son wasn't coming home. She inhaled sharply. "I need to speak with a supervisor." "They'll tell you the same thing." The agent rolled her eyes but grabbed her radio. Then a voice cut through the tension. "Excuse me, miss." Naomi turned. An older man stood up from his chair, Vietnam veteran. She recognized the insignia on his head instantly. "What's the problem here?" Before Naomi could answer, the gate agent spoke first. "Sir, this is a private matter." The veteran ignored her and looked Naomi in the eye. "Your military escort?" "Yes, sir." "And they won't let you stay with him?" "No, sir." A muscle worked in his jaw. "That's unacceptable." Before the agent could respond, another voice spoke up, a woman clutching a folded flag in her lap. A widow. Her voice was quiet but strong. "My husband died in Iraq, and when they brought him home, a soldier just like her stayed with him the entire way. Do you know what that meant to me? To my children." She turned to the gate agent. "You don't separate a fallen soldier from their escort. You just don't." The gate agent hesitated. Then murmurs rippled through the waiting area. "She's military. Why aren't they letting her do her job? This is disgusting. This shouldn't even be a debate." Then a businessman in a suit stood up. "I fly every week. I've seen airlines bend over backward for celebrities and politicians. But they can't make an exception for this." More voices joined in, clapping, agreement, pressure. Then the intercom crackled. "This is your captain speaking. Can Sergeant Brooks please come to the podium?" Silence fell over the crowd. Naomi stepped forward, every eye in the gate area on her. The captain, a man in his 50s with silver hair, emerged from the jet bridge. He met her gaze, understanding in his eyes. He turned to the agent. The soldier is staying with her comrade. Captain, I know the policy. I also know the airline has made exceptions before. I just spoke with corporate. They'll make it work. Relief flooded Naomi. She had won. Devon wouldn't be alone. As she boarded, the businessman from earlier handed her his first-class ticket. You get him home, Sergeant. She swallowed hard. I will. Once seated, she noticed something unusual. The pilot stood at the front of the plane. Ladies and gentlemen, he said over the intercom. Before we take off, I'd like to acknowledge someone on this flight. Sergeant Brooks is escorting Corporal Devon Hayes home. She promised his family she'd see him all the way there, and she's keeping that promise. The cabin fell silent. Then, one by one, people started clapping. The Vietnam veteran stood first, clapping the loudest. The widow wiped away tears. The businessman nodded. Naomi wasn't used to this, to being seen. As the plane took off, a flight attendant approached, kneeling beside her seat. She held out a small tray. On it, a set of pilot's wings. Captain wanted you to have these. He said you've earned them more than anyone. Naomi ran her fingers over the metal before closing her palm around them. For Devon. When they landed, she saw the Hayes family waiting. Devon's mother clutched a tissue, eyes red but steady. Naomi squared her shoulders, adjusted her uniform, and stepped forward. Because promises weren't just made, they were kept. If this story moved you, share it. Let their sacrifices be remembered. And if you want more powerful stories, subscribe to Unfolded Tales Explained and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching.